And welcome back. How is everyone doing today? It's time for the Super Sully Sunday stream, and I am sick. Still fighting what I was on, which was kicking my ass last week. But maybe the power of Plaid Palpatine can help us. How y'all doing? Let me see. Hey, it's Sully time. That's right. That's Lane Kramer, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like Sully in a bathrobe. Yep. And also, yeah, my voice is kind of shot. I helped out Wes this morning. Wes from Thinking Critical. He needed some help on his Patreon podcast. Doc had it's Q&A with Doc, and Doc had a blackout. He lost power. We got walloped up here in the Northeast with rain and snow, a nor'easter, as we say here in the Bay State. We got about 6 inches of snow, and then it's just rain and slush, and it's a good day to stay in. It's a good day to stay inside. So what did I do? I made ribs. I didn't cook in. I got steaks in there. I got chicken. I got ribs. I got bacon. I'm all set. I'm really, oh boy, I'm so tired. I know. Just read one of my pulls for this week's Fist of Khonshu. Turned out it was really fun. I agree with you 110%. Dev Maliek Pranarik does the art. I think he's great. I'd like to see more and more of him. Lane Kramer says, I still need to read One World Under Doom #1 and All New Venom #3. It was the strongest issue of All New Venom so far, and I enjoyed One World Under Doom #1. I did. Yeah, it was fun for me. And I've read 18 Marvel books this week. I read 7 Image books this week, maybe a couple more, and then I got 4 floppies. So I've read 29 different floppies just this week. Sometimes it's just like I do 12 to 15 Marvel books a week. So I read a lot of funnies. I really do. Just to be fair, All New Venom nearly made me quit Marvel Comics last month. Ooh, that's too many floppies, way too many Marvel comics. But because I get review copies from the boys in the show, and just once a week I get a Dropbox. The Dropbox that's what I refer to as my pirate chest, and it's filled with funny books. And so, as being on a review show, I got access now to review copies. I'm so low energy today, but I've got my tea, and I've got some biscuits for me tea. It's 3 p.m. It's time for tea. I've got tea and biscuits. I got these. I'm not thrilled with them because, this is the Post Malone Oreo. I got this specifically because my friend Robert Meyer Burnett of the Robservatory and the Robservations, he was raving about these. And I'm like, okay, I love a cookie. I got a sweet tooth. I love an Oreo. I'll give it a chance based on his rec. These are swirled salted caramel and shortbread flavored cream. So one side, I'll show you. One side is a chocolate Oreo. It says Post on it. And the other side is the yellow cakeish Oreo. And if we open it up, you see the swirl of the 2 different flavors inside. So this is Post Malone's. Who is Post Malone? He's a singer. I don't think I've ever listened to any of his music. I know he lost a lot of weight. I always feel bad for stars that have face tattoos. I mean, that Tom McDonald guy and Post Malone. I mean, geez, I hope you can get those things removed. That's my theory too. My money's on that. The Epic versus Cross comic. We still need is Paul with his jackpot device as jackpot #4 versus Omni-Man. Sure. Paul would be paced on the ground after that. Yeah. Hey, AL, how are you? I'm still under the weather a little bit. Yeah, I was on Wes's yesterday. Wes's Thinking Criticals, Comics Aficionados. We had a great show talking about comic books and this, that, and the other thing. Also, I'm going to be guesting on his Patreon this week, his podcast. Yeah, Doc suffered a power outage because of the snow, and I stepped in. Yeah, that's what I do. Like, I'm the bench. I'm here. I can do it. And it was terrible because I'm so low energy. Like, I'm verging on a panic attack. So I popped, a couple of panic pills, which always helps, and it's like, thank you very much. I little by little, I'm kind of like bundled up. It's a cold day. It's a cold, wet day out there. So, and I got soup, and I can make a grilled cheese sandwiches, and I took a nap. I usually don't nap much, but I needed one. I was so plumb tuckered out. But I made ribs. I had a 5-pound rack of pork ribs, slow cooked for 4.5 hours in a tight foil packet at 300 degrees. And that's going to feed me all week. You know what I mean? Seriously, that's supper. We're talking about the Post Malone Oreo cookies that my friend Robert Meyer Burnett, he suggested. He was raving about them. I got a sweet tooth as well, so I picked them up. They're okay. I prefer just regular cookies and cream Oreo. These are okay. I mean, they're not the best. Yeah. Maybe it's like that fake salted caramel kind of flavor. Salted caramel and shortbread flavored cream. Hey, Fear Monarch. Good to see you, buddy. Post Malone is a genuine guy. He was in a bunch of local metal bands that didn't make it big and tried and blew up making generic radio rap stuff. More power to him. He's got a couple of decent songs. Apparently, Post Malone fronted Nirvana's reunion at the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary show last night. I guess they had Chris Novoselic on bass. They had Pap Smear on guitar, and my favorite, Dave Grohl, on drums. I think Dave Grohl, he's a good frontman. He's a great pop rock singer and songwriter. He reminds me a lot like Paul McCartney was when the Beatles split up. If you can look at John Lennon like Kurt Cobain in a way. But when that first Foo Fighters album, that's all Dave Grohl. He does every instrument. He didn't have the band yet. The band came by the second album, and As You Know It. And these aren't my favorite cookie, but I'll slowly eat them. You know what I mean? I will throw them away one by one. I shall give them a watery grave. Awesome. Let's see, man. Just last month tears down from Doc's tier on the Patreon due to some work hours I'm missing and Sully answering questions. It's okay. I was just totally I felt bad because I didn't want to let Wes down, but I'm feeling like this, and I was edging on a panic attack. It's my mom's birthday today, and so it's her first heavenly birthday. She would have been 70 years old today, and I had planned, we lost her on January 31st, 2024, over 6 months ago. So I was planning on renting a Veteran of Foreign Wars hall, you know what I mean? A VFW hall, because they have parking spaces and stuff. And they're pretty reasonable. And had her 70th birthday party and invited all of her friends and all of her cousins and anyone that's around. And but no, we lost her to cancer, and that's that. And I miss her, and so it's my mom's first birthday without us, or however you however the sentiment goes. I'm only at Aaron Never Ending Christmas Tree tier. That's cool. I mean, oh boy. I didn't like the Post Malone cookie either. Oh, so you know what I'm going through right now. It's just like, yeah. And then the Girl Scouts were back. I already had this cookies and another thing of Chewy Chips Ahoy, which has it's a chocolate chip cookie that has a fudgier center, and so it has Hershey's like on the label, you know. And I got them last time, and I'm like, oh, I'm really digging these chocolatey cookies. I love chocolate. I'm like an alcoholic, but for chocolate. And man, more Beatles talk. Someone calling Jim, and we can derail another stream into Beatles mania. I could talk about the Beatles all day long. I just choose not to. I kind of, you know, we can talk about the Beatles. And let me run down the show notes real quick and remind me in a minute. Let's talk about the Beatles. And I can talk about the Beatles. I don't mind. I'm a recovering huge Beatles fan. I am. I've grown up on the Beatles music, as we all have. My mom and my auntie Joanne, the two oldest sisters of the five kids and my grandparents, brood and in the Irish household that they raised them in Dorchester, Massachusetts, which is right next to South Boston. Both of them venerable Irish neighborhoods. And so they like did extra chores in 1963 when Meet the Beatles came out. And they had, so I grew up listening to their copy of Meet the Beatles and mono, you know, just the old, you know, just that original first print. Yeah. And yeah, AL says, I like Ringo the best. Ringo was the dumbest one because he married Barbara Bach. So he shot up near the top. Indeed. Yeah. At least you weren't like my favorite Beatle, George Harrison, whose wife, Patty Boyd, leaves him for his best friend, Eric Clapton. Patty Boyd has so many rock and roll songs written about her. Beautiful Tonight by Eric Clapton, Layla by Derek and the Dominoes, For You Blues by the Beatles, Something by the Beatles. Think of those George Harrison love songs. They're all about his wife, the beautiful Patty Boyd. Hey, Mo, how's it going? Salam, and good to see you. And, but yeah, I'm a huge Beatles fan. I really am. And also they had their Magical Mystery Tour, which had a book inside of it. And they had that weird bus, you know, with the double tires up front. And I love that album. That's Magical Mystery Tour for me is better than Sgt. Pepper's and the White Album. I mean, Abbey Road's in its own category. You know, but I love all their music. I really do. And but it was my biggest relationship in my adult life now, you know, more than 2 decades ago. And, you know, so it's all water under the bridge. But it was one of those things. As a couple, we're Beatles fans. And the Beatles had a lot to do with that relationship, 5.5 years. And so I struggle with enjoying the Beatles anymore. And it ended badly. And so I'm sorry. The Beatles remind me of her. And that's my story. That's all I got for you. I've literally deleted all of my Beatles albums off of my iPod, except for Abbey Road. I have Abbey Road on compact disc as well, because Abbey Road is Abbey Road. It's different. You know, and I still have copies of all the MP3s in the albums on a hard drive. So it's like I still have all this music. I just need to re-upload it to my, my new computer. That's right. Patriotic Pikachu. What's up, Adam Frey? How you doing? Awesome. Good to see everyone out there. No, I did not go to see Captain America 4. Lane was going to go today, but several people who went and told me it was not good. So now I know 2 others are going to see it, and I might try next weekend. Well, cool. I mean, I hope you like it. Movies are usually made to be liked. It's just they just get so dragged down with by committee, It's kind of why I think Christopher Nolan movies work, because he's an auteur, or Denis Villeneuve. He's an auteur. He's he's the director, and that's all there is to it. Robert Eggers, Ari Aster. At least we know like there are still. That's my squeaky chair. You're going to get some WD-40 if you keep that up. Pikachu, put that on the list. Yeah, I read a bunch of comic books this week. Oof. And also, what's in the bag? What's in the bag? I went to my local comic book shop this week, picked up my poll list, got some funny books, some floppies. Some were good, some were mediocre, and one was exceptionally excellent. And if you saw me talk about it yesterday on Wes's Thinking Critical, then you know what I'm going to talk about then. But yeah, so I did Q&A with Doc today, 2 hours of answering questions, but I'm like, I got this level of energy. And I felt like, I kind of felt bad. I was like, oh man, I don't want to mess Wes's show up. And like, all I wanted to do was take a nap. I took an hour-long nap right after that show, yeah. Let's see. What did we read? Well, let's look at the cap for failure. What was the budget of Captain America: Brave New World? I'm looking at a screen rant. Well, let's share. It's the magic of YouTubing. Let us share some screens. Sharing is caring. Caring is sharing. That's right. Fix that. Here we go. I like that one better. Pardon the ads. Let's see. My friend Fatal J is right. I think the design of his costume is a lot better. This version 2 suit that he's got on looks a lot more like Captain America. Box office projections looking healthy. Now, this was from 4 days ago. And after receiving the shield, blah, 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 woofity woof, Captain America projected to open with 94 million over the Valentine's Day 4-day weekend domestically. The MCU movie is expected to have a 190 million global opening, including China. The number would allow Anthony Mackie's first movie as Captain America to recoup its $180 million budget in a handful of days. But that's if that number is true. And for it to be profitable, he has to carry the movie to at least 360 million worldwide. But this movie had reshoots, and I guess Screen Rant gave it 4 out of 10. It looks like it's aggregate. It's saying 7.1 out of 10. Let's see. Captain America throws his mighty shield. Throws his mighty bullshit. Scott Mendelson. Hell, we found him. Formerly from Forbes magazine. The Skirt. He writes about geeky stuff and nerd movies. Now he's writing for the Outside Scoop. We have found you, Scotty Mendelson. How about that? Let me catch up with the chat real quick. Manga, manga, manga. Manga, 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 manga. Manga, 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 manga. Manga, manga. Manga, manga. Let's see. Hold on one second. We'll just tune in. My buddy Thomas is like, well, he's like, I'll pass on watching, but thanks. And I'm just like, no, we'll just tune in for a minute and smash the like button. It really helps. The algorithm suggest our little show to people out there, geeky people. How many reshoots? They say between 1 and 4. I trust the latter number. I bet you this had more reshoots, and every one of those reshoots cost so much more money. And no, you can't talk away. And because when I switch screens, I have to abandon the live chat for a couple of minutes, especially if I'm reading an article from a different source. It's on a different tab, and then I have to go play and let me catch up with the live chat. Speaking of, let's get back to that. Lousy reviews and poor word of mouth point to Marvel's Brave New World finishing closer and domestically and globally to the first Avenger than the Winter Soldier. Yeah. Well, first thing I want you to know about, Reverend Sully's, comic book show. I don't get off on counting other men's money. None of my business. I mean, this whole thing of there's an interesting game within the game to it. So we know how much it costs on one level. It said 180 million, but then the marketing, and you've had a lot of marketing behind this movie. This movie has had a lot of it. And because it's trying to sell you on this notion, like, hey, you need to check out what we're doing with the Captain America story on these movies you liked. Let's see, let's hear it for the boy. Let's support the new guy, and it could happen. But so you basically say that a movie's budget is doubled. You double that because it's so 180 to produce this movie and 180 to market. So we're already up to 360. That's the, let's see. Oh, okay. And back to action. Yeah. So, I surprisingly have very little to say about Captain America 4. Let's see. It's a Reddit and comic book resources. Bali, here we go. Here's a good one. All right, we're gonna share this screen. Are we sharing the screen? Share the screen. Okay, this is from Bali Movie Reviewers. This is Ani Jha who's wrote this. This is from This is from today, February 16th. So this is this is what we need. Captain America 4: Brave New World, Day 3, box office collection, India, worldwide, and budget. This is an Indian page. It's expected to collect 8 to 94 million in the US and 90 to 110 million overseas for 190 million, similar to Ant-Man Quantumania. That was a flop and below expectations. Captain America 4 has so far collected 40 million in the USA and 40 million in overseas for 80 million worldwide. Captain America was pre-pandemic. Captain America 3 was pre-pandemic and had opened up at 180 million in the USA on its way to a 1.15 billion. That's Captain America 3 Civil War. Yeah, huh? The American total movie budget is $180 million. And again, is like, are these, and this is just keeps giving us, data. Inside Out 2 is already taking out $1.68 billion. Wow. Deadpool and Wolverine, $1.3 billion. Despicable Me, $968 million. Wow. Moana, Dune Part 2, $711 million worldwide. Damn, that's what. And you know what? Villeneuve, I love these Dune movies. Villeneuve is he's going right ahead into Dune Messiah, his last Dune movie. Now the story could go on, but it's going to be Villeneuve's last Dune movie. So he's going to leave it where Dune Messiah, because what comes after Dune Messiah is Children of Dune, book 3, that focuses on the young Leto and his twin sister, Ganamia, and Atreides, who are the children of Paul Muad'Dib, the Kwisatz Haderach, and Chani Kynes, Atreides. Well, not Atreides. They were never married. That's right. I guess her name was Chani Kynes all that time, huh? And you know what? It's interesting, Dune fans. We never learn Chani's Steech name? Now, Liet was Kynes' Steech name. Muad'Dib, Usul was Paul's Steech name. And we never learned Stilgar's Steech name either. Come to think about it. Or Jameis's. And Jameis was my friend. Hey, Dwayne Muth. Hey, Tevye Smoka. How's it going, Smolka? I saw the movie itself was disappointing and reviewed it on my channel. Yeah, tune into Tevye's channel and give him a subscribe and smash that like button and jumpstart the algorithm for Tevye. He makes content. He's a content creator, and I'm a tea drinker. Pika's got his tea shades on. He's a patriotic motherfucker. That's right. Watch your mouth. But who is the Pokemon that will help another human man? Pikachu. You damn right. When Pika's on the scene, you know he's pretty mean. My Pikachu. My Pikachu. Having cups of tea. Diamond in that 3. Pikachu. My Pikachu. That's right. Oh, Pikachu. Pikachu. He don't smell like number 2. Pikachu. Pikachu. You notice the lava lamp? Yeah. Eventually, I got to put my endgame Captain America up there. Who my cosplay as. It's great. It's my Hot Toys 1/6 scale. It has a compass with Peggy's picture on it. Yeah. I got one from Etsy just because of that, to go with the rest of my Captain America cosplay. Titus Paul, hello. Mm-hmm. And they don't want to deal with the reality of the ectoxyl tanks for their cloning facilities. Yeah, I mean, my friend Elaine, you know her as Nerd Cookies. She does an amazing introspective on the HBO Max show, Dune Prophecy. And it's about the Bene Gesserit about 20,000 years ago. And, it's an official prequel to the Villeneuve adaptation style of Dune. And it's based upon some of the Brian Herbert and Kevin Dean Anderson's prequel books. There are 6 Dune books. There's Dune, Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, and Chapter House Dune. And those are the 6 that were written by its originator, Frank Herbert, and who passed away in the mid-'80s after the publication of Heretics of Dune or is it Chapter House? I forget which one was 6. He left notes. He left everything, to the estate to his son Brian. So Brian tried making a with the help of very famous sci-fi writer, fantasy writer Kevin Dean Anderson, using the license that was his birthright. He penned a series of books set in the past leading up to the time of Paul Muad'Dib. He filled in all that prequel space. I never read any of those. I didn't. I wasn't interested. I might have tried to play the video game once, Dune 2000. Yeah, not enough fighting. More, and that was more of like tactics and strategy and setting. It's like the Sims. You got to set up. Literally, you got to set up your spice harvesters and shit, and worry about worm attacks and stuff like that. I mean, I've read all 6 of these books over and over and over and over again over the years. I just really reread. I reread Chapter House and Heretics recently, and I forgot how good they are. And if they had the audacity to really go with the rest of the books, Heretics and Chapter House are full of action, of space fights, of ground assaults. It's bloody. You have great excuses for martial arts and fight scenes and space battles. It's got a lot going on. Bashar Teg, more Duncan Idaho, just it's really interesting. And well, if you want, you could always start up. Hello, it just got lovelier in here. Hello, the lovely Sherry. Thank you so much for dropping by on my low energy Super Sully Sunday stream. We were just talking about Captain America 4, and how it's got it's doing a little shy at the box office. This is from today. Captain America 4 has so far collected $40 million in the US and $40 million overseas for $180 million worldwide in its opening weekend. And it has an alleged $180 million budget. And that's not taking into consideration marketing or the reshoots. And Oh, did I close that window? Was I sharing a window that wasn't even open? Yeah, it should be. I mean, because the Fremen a version of Islam? Yes and no. They are meant to be a Semitic people, a nomadic people, and a lot of the words in the Fremen dialect of Arrakis, they really are they're Arabic words. Like one of them, I almost got a tattoo for celebrating quitting smoking. It was an Arabic phrase. And my friend Momadi from Morocco, I came up to him with this word, and because it's in Children of Dune. Hey, Pika Shades, how you doing? And it's from Children of Dune, when Faradin Corino betrays his mother and sides with Leto and Ganymede. He is spared. He is given Ganymede as his wife, therefore having a permanent place in the royal family, and that his offspring with my sister, you know what I mean? This will continue the Bene Gesserit breeding program. And your new name is Hark al-Ada. It means changing of the habit. And I said this too. And so Hark al-Ada. I got it written down. I asked Mo to write it down for me, because he said that's a very powerful phrase. And so that's the Arabic, like David Beckham style, that I was going to get like on the other side, like the other side of this. Because I also wanted to get this done too, the two skeletons kissing. from Watchmen. You know, this, I always thought that would look great. Like right here. Because I got this El Alacron, it's a card. So I'd have 2 panels. You know, that would have been those were my plans for my tattoos in my 30s. And I haven't gotten around to those ones. But I got this one. Cui bono means who benefits. And that was on the table of the Crime Syndicate of America and Frank Quietly and Grant Morrison's JLA Earth 2. Cui bono, you know, that was the CSA's motto. But yeah, harkalata, it means changing of the habit. And yeah, there we go, Mo. Thanks. And it means breaking the habit. Yeah. And I was going to put that for my for my 10th anniversary of quitting smoking cigarettes. And also it's this huge Dune reference. You know, I just think that is completely me. You know what I mean? I love that. And yeah, so there we go. So I was almost got a Dune reference in Arabic, but yeah. So there are, you know, like Momadi, who's my friend at work, and I can hear the wordplay, the etymology in my ear. Can hear from the Fremen, Mahadi, and the next prophet, the prophet to come. And I was like, Momadi, does that mean like the prophet to come? And he's like, wow, like you're close. And because I can hear that, you know, so definitely Frank Herbert. It was 1950s and 1960s. You know, you had to use. You know, we're not saying that orcs are people of color, but all the humans out there came from planet Earth, and every human out there. It's not that these people went out into outer space and found other humans. No. This is, you know. These are other humans. All these humans in the Dune universe came from planet Earth. This is the spreading of the seed of humanity and the stars. Yeah. Guided one. Thank you. Yay. Hey, Bone. How's it going? Good to see you. So yeah, so buttons, as Mo says. It's Mo's birthday. Cheers, Mo. To you, Ma. I love you. Ah, very good. Very good. How are you all doing today? Yeah. So there's going to Raceswap. Okay, let's look this up. Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms. Who out there cares about... Who out there cares about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe? Oh, wow. The Brutalist. Idris Elba set for Masters of the Universe. And he will play the role of Duncan, Man-at-Arms. Who's a ginger. It's enough, but it's Idris Elba. Idris is a great actor, and so Tila. My first thought is like Tila is going to be mixed. Actually, Tila is being cast with a Latina, and I hope she still has red hair. You know, because kind of like, you know, Zendaya and Chani, because Liet Kynes was traditionally Caucasian. You know. And so yeah, today on O Diversity. But yeah, I say Alison Brie as Eva Lynn. Oh, I think she's hot. I love Alison Brie. She wow, yeah. Nicholas Galitzine as He-Man, Camila Mendez as Tila. Yeah. Duncan is a good guy and for centuries has been the weapon master and combat instructor to the royal family. He's also known as Man-at-Arms. And his adopted daughter, Tila. Now, if people in the chat, do you know your Duncan is just Tila's father, biological father. I didn't know he was, or is Tila really the daughter of the sorceress? Because, or I thought I'd never even thought of this until right now. Shouldn't Tila be the daughter of Duncan and the sorceress? Why wouldn't sorceress want to, throw down with, man at arms? I don't think they're going there, Bone. Yeah, that's great. More. How about Michael Jackson as Prince Adam? We can call him He-Man. He. Oh boy. Oh, you want to be starting something? Got to be starting something. Say you want to be starting something. Got to be starting something. Too high to get over. Yeah. Too low to get under. Yeah. You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, but it's like Wes and I were talking about stuff like this. Sometimes just the actor is the right part. Like I was having these feelings about Jim Gordon in Matt Reeves' The Batman being portrayed by Jeffrey Wright. And it didn't take very long in the movie to be like, all right, Jeffrey Wright, that's completely Jim Gordon. I really liked his portrayal of him. Yeah. There you go. I mean, just like, yay, multiverse. I mean, it's just, there's been so much DEI and ESB and so many messages and pushings of things and checks, box to check, that it's like, every race swap is like, I just think that race swaps are like the most inauthentic and the cheapest way to achieve the noble goal of representation and diversity. Sure. I mean, there's plenty of characters, but also Wes and I were talking about Shawshank Redemption, and Shawshank Redemption is this wonderful early 90s movie starring Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman. And it's about a man wrongly imprisoned for the murder of his wife and his plan to escape. And what he makes is he makes his best friend, who's one of the trustees, who, he pushes around the library cart, and his name's Red. And so this started with the Stephen King book. Stephen King has a short story in different seasons. That's where it was published. And it was Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. That's the name of the story. So it follows, basically, it's a very good adaptation from short story, it's a novella, to movie. It keeps all the story beats, because underneath the picture of Rita Hayworth, that's the whole. You know what I mean? And but Red is played by Morgan Freeman in the movie. And so this comes so way before DEI was ever a blip on anyone's radar. I mean, political correctness was just starting up on college campuses, and I don't know if that's a Venn diagram. I don't know. But so buttons. So Red was cast as Morgan Freeman, an African-American man but he was an Irishman with red hair in the book. And all you needed was a little storytelling. And that's and the adaptation about why Red's red. And it worked. I mean, this is because it's one of the best movies ever made, The Shawshank Redemption. Oh, sorry, Al. I've had that up there for a while. Tila is the sorcerer's daughter, and she gave her to Duncan to raise and protect. But who's the baby? Who's the baby daddy? Who's the baby daddy? Call now, Mistress Cleo, and we will, we'll tell your fortune. I'd rather he play Skeletor, but he's being played by Jared Leto. So people are like bag on him. I think Leto's a misunderstood actor. I think he's talent. I think, yeah. In the comic in 2000 X-Human, she's his niece. His brother is Fistor. Duncan's brother is Fistor. I I tried to fist them, but I didn't fist hard enough. The famous scene from the... You can't tell me you can't find an equally good actor to fill that role and has the right look. Sure. And, you know, but Idris Elba has name brand recognition. He could pull it off. He's a man of many accents too. I know. Yeah. I mean, it's just every time there's a casting like this, it always, now we're predisposed to look at it like DEI. It's all DEI. And like How to Train a Dragon, and the girl who's Nordic with blue eyes and blonde hair in the animated movie, now in the live action movie, is a mixed child, you know, and it just, and it's like, yeah. But was it a trend? I think it was a trend, and the trend is over. Like, you're going to see a lot of pulling back on Pride Month. You're going to see a lot of pulling back. Like, the U.S. military has had really interesting rollbacks on who and who can't be in the military, and they've also give a blanket forgiveness to any soldier that refused the jab and had to, you know, be discharged. Well, they can come back and get full back pay. That's happening. So, and Wes was thinking critical. I hope you get to check that out, because he gets asked that question. And Wes is 20 years in the military. He was in the Air Force. He's a war veteran. He's a very smart dude. As part of his gift and his training as an Air Force technician was to be able to correlate different data sources and be able to break down this information to explain it to generals, people above him, but in a way that the generals could understand it quickly. You know, so Wes is fucking brilliant. I hope you know that. He's wicked smart. When he talks about numbers and stuff, you know, that's just like, he's a human computer when it comes to that stuff, man. Seriously. How can the biking be mixed with DEI? Of course, you know. Oh, geez. Remember, the word slave itself comes from it's the Roman version of Slav, like the Slavic people, because the Romans would capture these barbarian Slavs, drag them back to Rome and sell them as slaves. They're not Roman citizens, you know. They're spoils of war. They're barbarian people with strong backs and strong legs. And if you break them in, you know what I mean? There you go. You got yourself your very own Slav. That's the word slave came from. Yeah. It's word etymology. I love words. Depending on which continuity, Tila can be the daughter of some unknown soldier or Fisto. Oh. I like my story the best. I'm going to be shipping Sorceress and Duncan now. Yes, I'm Pikachu. Write this down, please. Open a Reddit, a subreddit. Let's the shipping begin. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. And you think that Tila and Adam get to be kind of like maybe falling in love? You think we're going to get like a sequel, like with Allura? Being at the end, being like, no, your twin sister, she needs your help against Hordak. I think Hordak was an amazingly, he's so toyetic, man. I mean, all those figures were, but Hordak was what a great design. Let's look at Hordak for a second. Hordak had, yeah, the original Hordak. The original action figure. Let's look at you. Let's share this mother screen, please. Screen, please, Hordak. Your Castle Grayskull search. Hordak. That's Hordak. I love the design. Now, he can play around with this, but this is really iconic in a way. I love his coat of arms, the bat. This is such a great design. This is an improvement on Skeletor as someone with their own unique identity. It's not like a Skeletor ripoff. Sure, they reuse aspects, like they all have the same waist, hips, legs, and they have like two styles of feet, like furry boot or the monster feet, and they all have the same kind of hands and biceps too. It's like head molds and chests, I think, are the big changers on that one. But that's Hordak. I love Hordak. I haven't. I didn't watch any of the Netflix She-Ra show, because that came after Cuties. So, I mean, I don't. Yeah. I haven't watched Netflix since Cuties. I don't intend to. Sorry. So I was starting to say, like, I'm at the supermarket. I'm buying cookies, and lo and behold, the Girl Scouts are there again. They have a table, so it's a couple of moms and a couple of Girl Scouts, and they're all between like 8, 11 or so. You know what I mean? And it's fine. But what I wanted to do was I really wanted to ask one of the moms, because it's official. There are no more Boy Scouts of America. The organization is now referred to as Scouting of America. The Boy Scout page, Prepared for Life. Let's see. You go to the Boy Scout page, and it now says this: Scouting America. They changed the name to be less gender restrictive or something. And the scouting programs, Scouts BSA. So maybe that's Boy Scouts of America, Scouts BSA, and then venturing, Sea Scouts. Oh, they don't have Weebelows anymore? Is that what they had? Or Eagle Scouts? Cub Scouts. I was in a Cub Scout. We had a blue outfit, we had a blue uniform and hats, and we didn't do much. We met in the basement of the church, and we never went camping because we were kids from the projects and the Cub Scouts, but they gave us the manuals and how to, I learned how to tie a tie from the Boy Scout handbook, but now, they're no longer the Boy Scouts. It's Scouting America now. But the Girl Scouts are the Girl Scouts of America. You see what I just can someone explain this to me? Like, I'm a 5-year-old. I wanted to ask one of the mothers, you know what I mean? Like, how do you feel about that? I mean, you're taking away the identity of the boy space, but the girl space remains, in gendered language too. Shouldn't they not be Scouting America as well? And there'll be two Scouts BSA, Scouts GSA, but both Scouts and both equal. Can you think the boys can start selling cookies? I don't know. I just think there's something really weird about that. Girl Scouts of America are allowed to keep their name. Boy Scouts of America was compelled. Now that's where I mean when there's an inherent misandry in this need to correct the past. Oh, it's too patriarchal. It's too gender exclusive. But you kept the Girl Scouts of America name. What about the boys need their spaces too? Wow, these people are smarter than me. And how are they, just wow. Consider my mind blown. My little head, my little mind is blown. Let's see. Let's close some windows. We're getting through all this stuff. Will you hear the one about Luke Skywalker? Yeah. You want to know how he prefers the company of other men? It's sure. This, if you were on social media, you had the privilege and honor of dealing with this outrage spike and cycle. People, this blew up my Twitter 3 days ago. Mark Hamill outs Luke Skywalker as gay. And so with Mark Hamill being like the whipping boy of the MAGA and far right because of his very vocal ex-Twitter feed when it comes to politics. Stand by. Hold on. People pay good money to see the speaker. The poor. Awesome. Having some tea with some friends. It's tea time. The whole crush on his own sister. We'll get there. I know. Yeah, to go back to the Boy Scout things, they hate boys and men. Yeah, they really do. And and I have all the respect in the world, for the Islamic culture because, maybe you knew better than Borat makes a joke. Like, you put the woman in charge, that is like giving machine gun to monkey. Sure, it's funny for the first 5 minutes. But, sheesh. No one ruins boys' spaces quicker than women. And yeah, it's got Batman on it too. I've had this mug since 1989, Mo. Since the Tim Burton movie came out with Michael Douglas. Yeah, you notice I'm not nibbling on these cookies. They're too sweet, and yeah. Okay, let's go. Let's talk about that level first. Let me bring up this. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Dun, dun, dun. Walk at you, 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 do walk at you, walk at you. What are you doing? Luke Skywalker is gay. All right, of course, Luke Skywalker is gay. Confirms Mark Hamill, echoing thousands of fan fiction prayers. The chosen one himself confessed. Where did the article go? Oh, there it is. That Luke's sexual orientation is up for free interpretation. But look at this. By Charles Bramesco, March 5th, 2016 on Vanity Fair. This came out shortly after The Last Jedi. 2015. The Force Awakens. 2015 was The Force Awakens. 2017 was The Last Jedi, where we get actual evidence for this. And 2019 was The Rise of Skywalker. So that this was written 9 years ago. So this outrage cycle that you're seeing, is based upon an almost decade-old Vanity Fair article, and where it's about, and Hamill says, well, let's read it real quick. There are a handful of absolute laws in nature. Matter can neither be created nor destroyed. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And any TV or movie character has, at some point, been inserted into situations of roiling homoerotic tension by composers of fan fictions. At least the first sentence, it's a bit of a run-on sentence, but it has this theme, and it identifies things right off the bat, that fan fiction shippers, what we know as shippers, think this way. In the month since the release of the world-conquering blockbuster Star Wars The Force Awakens, amateur scribes have created a thriving subculture organized around the romantic erotic coupling of Oscar Isaac's dreamy pilot Poe Dameron and Johnny Boyega's turncoat stormtrooper Finn. A few more clicks, and Adam Driver as the villainous Kylo Ren joins in on the action. But a new statement from original Star Wars cast member Mark Hamill has now made the most fanciful fan fiction fantasy, the alliteration, the most fanciful fan fiction fantasy of all into something of a nevertheless still fictional reality. Luke Skywalker originator spoke with the Britain's Sun earlier this week and confirmed that the Chosen One's sexual orientation is up for interpretation, responding to sentiments from director J.J. Abrams that it would be nice for the franchise to incorporate some non-heterosexual characters. Hamill said. Fans are writing and asking all these questions. I'm bullied in school. I'm afraid to come out. They say to me, could Luke be gay? I'd say it's meant to be interpreted by the viewer. If you think Luke is gay, of course he is. You should not be ashamed of it. Judge Luke by his character, not by who he loves. And that was kind of in my best Mark Hamill voice. This in the wake of a widely circulated message that Hamill sent via Twitter to a fan inquiring to whether Luke Skywalker might possibly be bisexual, in which he expressed a similarly flexible view. I can click on, and he has deleted that tweet. Oh, did I close that page? I did. Oh, and that made me close the page. All right, well, we don't have to read the rest of that. But that was Mark Hamill saying it. Well, it's about interpretation. And if you think that Luke is gay, then he is gay. I agree with him wholeheartedly. Because I'll tell you why. Oh, see you later, AL. Thank you so very much. And I have President's Day off. And Pikachu says, how do you do? And have a great day. Thank you so much. Yeah, Disney Star Wars is not Star Wars. That's why, because I'm saying that Disney Luke Skywalker can be gay. Sure. We already know that real Luke Skywalker, Lucas era Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, well, he had plenty of girlfriends. And the thing about kissing his sister, I mean, if you read the Rinsler books and the Duncan books, I have copies of them all, and in the Secret History of Star Wars, I love that. That's part of my favorite part of Star Wars lore is production stuff, the makings of, and how the plot note of the sister did not really materialize until the third movie, Return of the Jedi. Yeah. And also Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader were two separate characters until the final rewrites of Empire Strikes Back in the late 70s. That too. I mean, so I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I that's like, but so we know that Luke Skywalker meets Mara Jade. They have Benjamin Skywalker, and then Benjamin Skywalker eventually marries and has a son of his own named Cade. Cade Skywalker is his adventures are 100 years after the Battle of Yavin, and he's like 2 generations. He sees his grandfather's Force ghost. Luke shows up and tries to help his wayward grandson, and who he's like straddles the good and the bad, the light and the dark side of the Force. He's a pirate. It's a really Star Wars Legacy on Dark Horse Comics was really good. It's underrated. Great design, great characters. So yeah, Luke's. So of course we know Luke is straight. real Luke, Lucas era Luke is straight. We know this. But Disney Luke, that's a different Luke. So this is part of like my coping mechanism of how I can, I don't enjoy the Disney stuff. I do treat it like it's its own universe, because it really is. And it's Star Wars in name only. It's content. They can't sell the action figures even to the aged collectors that were buying the action figures. Yeah, just, oh well. I've never watched a Disney Plus show, so I've no Mando for me, no Andor for me, no Book of Boba Fett, no Acolyte. I've seen everything I know. I've seen from the capsules on the different shows. I did watch the last 8 minutes of Kenobi on YouTube because I'm a lightsaber fan. Nope, green lightsaber, please. Thank you. I'm a big lightsaber fan. So I wanted to see that fight. This canon-breaking, lore-breaking fight that's not supposed to exist. You know what I mean? What are they doing? They're breaking canon. No, they can't break canon. George Lucas era canon is closed. It's imperturbable. It can't be harmed by Disney. Disney is in their own sandbox. It's in their own thing. It can't hurt us. It's just there will be no more new George Lucas Star Wars unless they can get a parallel licensing agreement. If you could start telling Cade Skywalker stories again and start, have hope, a new hope. Just it doesn't have to be all. Wouldn't that be interesting if that became the runaway Star Wars floppy hit? Dark Horse still makes Star Wars comics. They do High Republic adventures, and it's all set between and it's kind of weird because it's all set in the same frame of time as well, right around the fall of the Starlight Beacon and the incursion of the Eye of the Storm, the new big bad. So I know way too much about it because I read all these Marvel comic books every week. I mean, seriously, when there are 18 Marvel comic books in my pirate chest, sometimes you get 2 or 3 Star Wars comic books a week. Sometimes I read Star Wars Ewoks. It was terrible. It was excruciating. I read that entire Dark Droids crossover. I still can't tell you what happened. I don't know. There's a Star Wars: A New Legacy coming out, and it's all going to be all the Marvel Star Wars characters brought up in the past 10 years of having of Disney Marvel having the license and doing the brand new Disney continuity through, as part of their Lucas Story Group. I was rooting so hard for those movies, but Luke being gay, I think that was set up in The Last Jedi. He totally could be. Bye, Mo. Have a wonderful night. Salam. And we'll see you again, my friend. Thank you so much for hanging out and talking comic books. He's live and direct from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. We are worldwide here at the Super Sully Sunday stream. This is great. Indeed. Worldwide. Yeah, so I'm fine with Disney Luke being gay. That's fine. Listen to the gay kiss in The Rise of Skywalker got cut out. And then this is in the Act 3 denouement, the end of Rise of Skywalker. You see Admiral Darcy kiss her pilot girlfriend. And that part was cut out for Singapore, United Arab Emirates, and I think Yemen. And talk about international. We've got Gray coming to us from the land of the rising sun in Japan. Hello. Konnichiwa da. Hi. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling genki? Because we're just about to get to the comic books. We really are. But to finish it up, yeah, I mean, Mark Hamill is right. And remember, this is a 10-year-old article. And so it wasn't meant to, it wasn't said in his current poke the bear. He's like, he at the end, in the past few years, he's been very like poke the chud, because he's such a lefty progressive. And but for him to say that, between the productions of The Force Awakens and Last Jedi, I think that would lax his usual barbed and sharp, pointiness, his snideness, you know what I mean? His intention to rile up the chuds. I think this is about art, and it's about, of course, you could. I was interpreting Hux and Kylo Ren as gay. I thought they would have made a great couple. Seriously, the whole "I love you, I know" line. I mean, like, I would have loved to see that. Like, you're the traitor, Hux. Yes, I wanted you gone, but I love you. I know. And chops off his head, and in that, admitting that, oh wow, that's what was up with you two. That's why you were always bickering. Oh, that makes sense now. That would have taken a little bit of well, you would never have been able to sell it in China either, right? Or Singapore, or UAE, or Yemen. Yeah. And it's just funny because they cut those out for those markets. And I'm thinking, it's kind of unfair that Orthodox Christians can't order that same version on physical media from Disney, as a Christian family version. Seriously, you'd probably only sell a couple of thousand, but cup of tea. Oh boy. Yeah, Hux was a wasted villain. He was a fucking sociopath, force of fucking evil in Force Awakens, and he's a joke by the second one, and then the turncoat in the third. It was terrible. But yeah, so my evidence is found in to support Disney Luke being gay. I find that in the flashback sequences in The Last Jedi. We all know that George Lucas himself, an auteur, a movie maker, looked to Akira Kurosawa's films, the samurai films, most especially The Hidden Fortress, of which story beats, segue wipes. It's like The Hidden Fortress is the samurai movie version of Star Wars. Once you see The Hidden Fortress, you know who everyone is, you know everything that's going on, and you're like, oh wow, I can see this is where George Lucas lifted a lot of his stuff, was from Akira Kurosawa's The Hidden Fortress. So I'm thinking that an auteur such as Rian Johnson, movie maker, very erudite movie person, cinemaphile, could do the same thing. Reference his own Kurosawa movie. And the Kurosawa movie I'm thinking of is Rashomon. Now, Rashomon is about a bickering couple cutting through the woods when they have the calamity of coming upon a poor, hungry brigand, an outlaw in the forest, portrayed by Toshiro Mifune himself. And it looks back on it. What happened was the nobleman died, and he was killed by the bandit. Did the bandit grape the woman, or was it consensual? Or did the woman seduce the brigand to murder the husband to be free of him? we have a series of 3 or 4 flashbacks during the course of Rashomon. You have the condemned brigand himself telling his side of the story. You have the woman herself, the ravished or the accomplice, which, she tells her side of the story. Then we see the movie once again through those setups, so it goes back as a flashback. But then we hear a version from a witness, the guy who found the scene of the crime, and then from a witch who is doing her she's filled with the soul of the murdered man, so the murdered man gets to tell his side of the story through a medium, and so it adds a little bit of a supernatural twist to it. And by the end, did all those stories, did we even see the same thing here? So it's about the reliability of memory and about storytelling and what we remember or not. Rashomon's a fabulous movie. It was a Japanese movie made 5 years after the end of World War II, and it became an international hit. It was a big movie in America, and in a movie you had to read. Yeah, there was no English dub, and this took America by storm culturally. Everyone knew what the Rashomon effect is. Everyone knew Rashomon. Everyone kind of went out to see Rashomon as well. That's cinema history. That came out in 1950, 1951. That movie owned a lot, movie houses worldwide. Such a provocative adult story, and not told with graphic violence. None of these. This is like pre letter code. I love movies. So The Last Jedi is a lot like Rashomon. What was the essence, the subtext of the violence in the flashback? It was an essay, and I'll say it in Pig Latin. Exulse to salta a. Yeah, and a grape. Yeah, GRAPE, and say it like that. I mean, I don't want any trouble with YouTube. So here you have Luke Skywalker entering his nephew's tent in the middle of the night with the intention of whipping out his phallic lightsaber to do untold harm to the young boy. And all I can see is Rashomon. And the flashbacks of Rashomon presume the saxophone and violins, sax and violins, and if you know what I mean. And I think that's what was supposed to be put across in Rian Johnson's film, because the orders were that we need to take down the old heroes in order to replace them with the new heroes. We need to make Luke flawed, broken, sad, a sinner, deserving of punishment. What could be so wrong? He attempted to murder his nephew, or is the same subtext there? Because we have the same setups. We have what happened. We are told what happened that night in the Jedi Temple 3 different times in 3 different flashbacks. So I think there's a huge damage done to Luke Skywalker, because it's not that, seeing that, like, that would have been that would have been gay, like between like man and man. There you go. That's what it means. A man and boy too. I mean, seriously, that's like really, yeah, huh? but that's the subtext that I'm a cinema fan. There are layers in a movie. There are supposed to be things to unpack. Everyone wants to say about the political message of Star Wars, but what about the obvious usage of Akira Kurosawa as a texture, as a point of reference to be used, you know, the Hidden Fortress to A New Hope, Rashomon to The Last Jedi. That's my theory. Yeah, and I'd like to hear from anyone out there who thinks, you know, wow, I didn't hear this anywhere. I came to this conclusion on my own. You know, yeah. You read it here first. All right, let's get to some comic books. I'm actually pretty tired too, just to let you know. I'm still fighting something sick. All New Venom number 3 by Al Ewing, and art by Carlos Gomez. And it's filled with action. It's filled with fight scenes. Some heart-to-hearts between Venom and Dylan Brock. Dylan's still trying to figure out who's inside the suit. And it's just, a lot of action. So it's All New Venom number 3 is perhaps the strongest issue of the bunch so far, in my humble opinion. Amazing Spider-Man number 67. I've been going to bat for this book. The Joe Kelly stuff is better. And also he's got Ed McGuinness on art and Caffo too. So the art in this is by Andrea Braccardo. It's written by Justina Ireland. At least he's inked by Scott Hanna, so, but it's kind of cartoony. The X-Men are in it. Jed McKay's X-Men are in it. It's a lot of talking, and then the X-Men fights, and it's Pete still saying, "I'm so depressed. I can't do this anymore. I mean, go have someone else fight." He's Doctor Strange is like, "You don't get it. You're the only hope we have." And Pete's like, "Yeah, sure, I bet." But it's like, we get one more issue of the Justina Ireland stuff, and then 3 issues. Like, we got a Christos Gage, Mark Buckingham, issue 68, Point Death, and then we have 2 more issues of Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness and Cafu. Then that's going to wrap up this volume of Amazing Spider-Man. They'll be starting off with a new issue 1 with Joe Kelly and art by Pepe Larraz, who will be splitting art duties with my favorite, John Romita Jr. I love Johnny Romita Jr. Johnny's doing something with Mark Miller soon, a yet-to-be-disclosed project on Millerverse. The only thing that they say in the it's a teaser advertisement. It's like Wolverine, Kick-Ass. No, something next, or I don't know what the third one is, but Cable Love and Chrome number 2, written by David. Fuck you, P Post. Where's my bell? I still need to unpack, man. Where's my Pika? I want a fully functional studio by next week, or else I'll get X-Ray Girl stuffy back. I just heard them all out. Just don't tell him he doesn't know. It's a good way to put it too. It's a 12-issue story, and that's over $60. Yeah, and it's like, oh gosh, I felt that way for the Wolverine, the Sabretooth War. That thing ended up sucking at the end, and it's just like, oh man, this thing started off so good with great art, and just like $65 later, I'm never going to read this again. This was terrible. Cable is on a Cable adventure written by David Papoose. Yeah, it's like he's trapped in some kind of Mad Maxy future. There's Deadpool number 11. It's a lot better that because Deadpool's been dead in his own book for at least 3 or 4 issues. So I just actually figured out that the only part of this book I actually like is Deadpool's dialogue, his scenes. Everything else can just, can go. This is a crossover with Miles Morales' Spider-Man because they're both written by Cody Ziegler. So I think there's a 4-issue mini between these two. We got Deadpool Team Up number 5. Let me see. I'm going to share the screen. Share the screen. Share the screen. Share the screen. Ooh, share the screen. Deadpool number 5. I don't want to. Yeah, look at it. Let's look at the comic book. This is Rob Liefeld's final Marvel comic. According to him, he's done with Marvel. He did this this cover. He's Wade Wilson. He's got a team, and they're fighting dragons and shit. You're gonna notice there's not a lot of backgrounds because like Rob just like drew all these superhero poses and superheroes punching each other, and it's got some kind of cosmic backdrop. So you can literally, he doesn't have to draw any of that. He's just like, he can leave that to the colorist. But they got Lady Deadpool and Wolverine, and everyone gets their big scene, like their heroic dialogue moment, and their big action. And there's Mutant X, who has a reveal, or a Major X, and then there's Shatterstar, good old friend Shatterstar, and Cable, and like you get this huge team of kick-ass, and also like, a lot of these people. So some of these people, Liefeld had a hand in creating, such as Cable, and maybe even Shatterstar. Let me know. And this ends so flatly, but here we go. It's always, have we met? Always a pleasure fighting alongside you, Wade. Have we met? And many times. My name's Rob. We've had a few. Pretty sure we've never met. We have. I think I'd remember. It's been 30 years. This is Rob Liefeld drawing himself into his book. And just for this little scene, because this is his goodbye. I thought that was fun. And he evolved, the dragon lord evolves into the dragon king. And there the story just ends. And there you go. And that's it. But it was fun. Serious fun. What's up, Mark? Good to see you. Until he comes back again. And it's like, oh no, Rob Liefeld and his entire family's out there, and they want into the hospitality suite. Oh gosh, no! The wife steals the soap. You can't have that happen again. I don't know. I don't. What? No, I made that up. Joy Creel is probably just a really, really nice gal. Hollywood triplets. Her other two sisters, identical triplets. Her other two sisters, they did, was it Double Trouble on NBC, and they were also Lorna and Leanna Creel of Saved by the Bell. They played like that those couple of episodes without Jesse and Kelly, and you had the tough girl. What was her name? Let me know in the chat. Chat always knows everything. How good is your Saved by the Bell trivia? Tori. Yeah, it was Tori. Yeah, so they're an old Hollywood family. So Chase Liefeld, his son, very handsome, fit kid. He's an actor. He just did a werewolf TV show with Sarah Michelle Gellar. Yeah, so Chase Liefeld is a up-and-coming actor. Looks a lot like his old man. Good for him. Let's see, Deadpool Wolverine #2, but Ben Percy was pretty fun. He had Eddie Brock Carnage #1, written by Charles Soule, and it ended up being a pretty decent issue #1. I'm not the biggest Venom symbiote fan, but I've started reading a lot of those Carnage books in the past few months. The ones written by Torrin Grönbeck. Those were really good because she's got like a sixth sense of, horror. And I like that. And you can go there in a Carnage book. That's part and parcel with it. So there was a real over the top gory death scene. And, but now you have to, now you have Eddie Brock having to get along with Carnage. So there's going to be, some friction, and there's going to be, there's a good source of tension. You have a mismatch, usual enemies, right? So, but if anything needed a red band treatment for like extra gory pages, why not Carnage? Seriously. I mean, I think Carnage deserves red band treatment, even though I get a lot of grief from my brothers over at Comics Aficionados because I support such stuff. It's not going to go away. I know. Immortal Thor #20 by Al Ewing. I'm liking it. It's not that bad. There was Magic #2 in a miniseries about one of my favorite New Mutants in X-Men, Ilyana Rasputovich, sister of Colossus, and a very powerful mutant in her own right. Marvel Mutts #1. Yikes. It was cute. I'll put it that way, and just, it's one of these kids' books. It's probably just reprinting some Marvel, like, Infinity stuff, and it's cutesy-utesy. Like, it's Jeff. Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, #5. This is a good book. This surprises me. And like the Midnight Mission stuff that they were just doing while he was dead is kind of dragged on me. But having Mark Spector back, I mean, he just pulls the book together. It's just a better book. And great art by Devmalya Pramanik. And my eye is on him. When I see Dev's name in the credits, you're going to get some great battle scenes, good fight scenes, just good movement. I think he's a complete package. Keep your eye on him. Let's see. There was there was New Champions #2. It's by Stephen Fox, and it's got all the derivative, sidekicky, new property stuff, like teen spinoff characters. And there's like 12 of them in here, and it's boring. It was a boring book. It was Psylocke #4. It's by Alyssa Wong. So another, where's my bell? Bing. Fuck you, Alyssa Wong. But this is just as procedural as, a standard book gets. I mean, so I'm not going to, I can't make fun of it or pick it apart. I don't think it committed any errors. It's just written by someone that's blocked me on Twitter because I asked what's up with Danny Rand. Oh, you bad person. Well, Betsy has. So, she's got that covered. And oh my goodness. What else? One World of Doom #1. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't entirely great, but it didn't suck. It was fun. You got Doom. He lectures the hell out of the Avengers because Doom is brutal. He'll solve situations like, in his brutal fashion, and then say to the Avengers, like, and you would have, let this happen again out of sheer, incompetence, because you couldn't have taken care of it once and for all. Stuff like that. And then you get Dr. Doom riding a Dr. Doom T-Rex he picked up somewhere in the multiverse earlier in Ryan North's Fantastic Four series. And I thought that was really fun. I did. Show the page, Sully. It's one world under doom. Of course, people are going to try to test him. Baron Zemo had an army. And now the heroes are going to come and try to do their thing. And then the AIM find out, and they revolt. And then Dr. Doom has to step up and TCB and kill all the Hydra. That he was like, I had Hydra people, paving streets. I had Hydra people, like building bridges. Things that you never would have done. Conquered them and put them to work. And I think this is a great panel. This is a very comic book page to me. And that makes me happy to look at. Yes, it's over the top stupid, but you know what? It's fun. And I think fun is a missing ingredient in a lot of these comics. And this comic was kind of fun, especially Doom using himself in the third person and the smartest guy in the room. And now you're the most powerful guy in the room too. And I've heard some things like, well, hasn't Doom done this before? But Sully, Doom was the high god Doom in Secret Wars 2015 with Jonathan Hickman. Didn't you already do this? I don't know. Where did that stage direction come from? Why did you want me to portray such an annoying voice, Pikachu? I just read what you write in your copious amount of show notes. His show notes. The show notes of the show. Oh boy, what else did we read this week? Yeah, that new Champion books. Oh man, who's it made for? Psylocke 4, whatever. Spider-Gwen number 10, more of the same. Stephanie Phillips. It's like Rey and Kylo Ren and star-crossed lovers, and we want to like each other, but we work for different teams. But I want to break free of my father's evil ways and be an anti-hero. Whatever. Spider-Boy number 16 concludes this contest of champions of this. Yeah, it's not bad. It's funny that Spider-Boy is a better Spider-Man comic book than Amazing Spider-Man right now. I admit that much. Let's see. Sam Wilson, Captain America, number 2, written by Greg. Bing, fuck you, Pack. Wow, I got 3 blocked people. 3 people who blocked me. How the hell am I supposed to want to be nice to your book? It was a bad book. It was stupid. Sam Wilson, Captain America, number 2. Captain America Legacy number is 768. And he's fighting Red Hulk on these covers. Probably just to get some corporate syzygy with the movie. Then Jed McKay and usually Ryan Stegman's adjectiveless X-Men number 11. And pencils by Nitho Diaz. He's got an inker in Sean Parsons. So Corsair shows up, hilarity ensues. Didn't he just do this over at Stephanie Phillips? Phoenix, yes, but don't ask questions. Just consume. And the space pirate brings down a threat of other space pirates, and all heck breaks loose because it's, they're not after me, Summers. They're after you, Scott Summers. And And at the end, Alpha Flight steps in to help out because they strayed into Canadian airspace, being up in Alaska. Dun, dun, dun. And those are 18 Marvel comic books that I read this week. I also read a couple of image books. I read a collection, 156 page, What's the Furthest Place from Here, Volume 4 from 2021. Really interesting post-apocalyptic stuff. It's disturbing. I read The Walking Dead Deluxe number 106. It's just colored pages of Walking Dead, and it's just a reissue in color because the entire book was black and white. And that's when I read it, and I loved Walking Dead. So coming back to issue 106, and this is basically Carl having a conversation with Negan right after meeting Negan. Only 6 issues ago is where we, met Negan for the first time in the Saviors, and that's how when we lost Glenn. But Carl sneaks into the Saviors compound, and calamity ensues, and Rick wants his son back. And this is great because it's a nice part of the story before they meet Alpha and the Whisper Wars, because that's where it really changes, And I'm a big fan. Walking Dead. What a good, reliable book for so long too. What else did we read? We read Snot Girl number 16, written by Brian Lee O'Malley with art by Leslie Hung and Rachel Cohen on color. It says created by Brian Lee O'Malley and Leslie Hung. So, I mean, I wonder, because Brian Lee O'Malley usually, he did Scott Pilgrim, an American manga, well, a Canadian manga for him, but he drew that and he wrote it. He also did a follow-up called Seconds, an original graphic novel. And so it kind of shares the same kind of anime style, but it's just a little different. And so, and this is just, it's progressive stuff. This is lefty progressive stuff. It's yeah, that's all. And I'm meaning that nicely. I don't read Saga, but I do read Sacrificers, and I'm hoping Sacrificers becomes a lot like Saga, and you know what I mean, and has that staying power as a story and just keeps going. Like Sacrificers 14, wonderful book. So Luna is now captured, and she's in with the latest round of sacrifices. And she also has a very dark power within her. When she goes to sleep, it seeps out of her and causes destruction and death and mayhem. And then this issue did not even include Pigeon. With Pigeon, who escaped from his sacrifice and accidentally drank the elixir that was made from the sacrificers. And it gave him this power up. And now Pigeon is on his vengeance quest because now he is super powered. And it's interesting. And it's such great art. It's just good to see you. Have a good one. And God bless. Namaste. Good luck. We will see you again in those funny pages. Here we go. Whew. All righty. So yeah, Sacrifices 14, good stuff. Rockefellers number 3 by Peter Tomasi in his Ghost Machine. It's one of his Ghost Machine books. I hope it sticks. I hope it gets an audience. I'm kind of on the fence about it. It's not my cuppa. I feel like that's a boring answer, but sometimes a book just doesn't catch, and it could be good. It is good, and so it's got good art. It's got an interesting design, interesting characters. It just, I'm a little bored by it, and but blessed and grateful to have read it. There's Public Domain Trade Paperback Volume 2. This is Chip Zdarsky's best. It's a good book. Kaya 25 by Wes Craig, and it's a standalone issue. It's fantasy adventure, and we got 2 stories in here. And one thing I really liked about it was it's here. I'll share the page. Pop goes the world. Have we seen any ads yet? Let me know in the chat if you've seen any ads yet. But yeah, I mean, I love the lettering. Sometimes just something as mundane as lettering can really suck you out of a book if it's shitty. But then sometimes it can remind you, like, oh, this is really good. I like this lettering. So it kept me reading the story. And I like the colors. You know what I mean? And I'm usually not into fantasy books. But this was all right. And see, those are hand-drawn onomatopoeia. You know, they're probably done on a tablet, but still, that wasn't cut and paste and dropped and dragged from a suite of fonts you have in a folder. That was done with, like, you know, under the hand of an artist as part of the art. I love hand-drawn onomatopoeia. Yeah, and the lettering in this really works for me. I really enjoyed this. It's surprising and it was fun. And check out the colors and just it's got a macabre, funny ending, and then it's got this backup story too, like how to get through a maze when you have an ogre on your tail. And then she brings the ogre out of the maze. It's trapped in this crystal, but what happens to the crystal? It forms into a bird and flies away. And it's a little dialogueless story. There is no narrative caption. There is no lettering. There aren't any onomatopoeia. It's all show, don't tell. It's a cute little story. I really enjoy the heck out of that. Kaya 25 on Image Comics. It was juvenile number 3. This was about a bunch of kids on some kind of campus being overseen by scientists and adults, and they're figuring out that they have superpowers. And what are they going to do? There's only one more issue of that. This is the first issue of this I read. But you know what? I read the whole thing, and it was easy to get into, and at the end, it was enjoyable. Gunslinger Spawn number 40. Let me tell you, this is one fun superhero comic book. Blow that up just a little bit. Catch up with hey, Phil the Kill. Good to see you. Only when you first started the stream. Cool. Awesome. And then when it goes into the replay, it'll have, product placements dispersed properly throughout the span of the program. This is brought to you by people that don't like to, this is opium suppositories. Gunslinger Spawn. This is pretty fun. Lettering by Tom Orzechowski, which I think always blows my mind. He did all of those X-Men books in the 80s. I love Tom Orzechowski's lettering. But is he lettering by hand? He's old. He's an old man now. Is he still lettering by hand? Or is this his font that he did and he still gets to arrange them in the narrative caption boxes and everything? I don't know. I'd love... Maybe I should maybe I should get him on Twitter and interview him, or just ask him a question. But this is great panels, great art, great pacing, good action. And boom. Is it and it's angel versus demon, and there's nothing wrong. And this is a $2.99 book. Look at this. It's this all action, all good art. And I hope you enjoy Spawn as much as I do. Yeah, Gunslinger Spawn is always a good book. I've only caught on to it in the past few months, so I'm like, every Spawn book that I've been reading has been getting a great review from me because it's like they're unexpected, they're satisfying, they stay within the rules of it. They're not, they of course there are chatty parts. There's the story. You need those parts, but they're usually balanced with really good action scenes and gore, and that's that. What do we have? What did we get from our local comic book shop this week? What's in the bag? That's right. We got 4 funny books this week from my local comic book shop, New England Comics of Quincy, Massachusetts. And I've been going there on and off for about 35 years. It was my second all-time local comic book shop in my life. And now it has returned to be my primary as I live here in my new fortress of solitude in Quincy, Massachusetts. What did we get? We've got 4 floppies this week. So I read 29 books this week. Very seriously, man. Jupiter's Legacy finale number 4 of 5. It's I'm a little bit lost on it, to be honest. But also Wes said the same thing on Thinking Critical the other day. He was like, "You too?" They're like, "Yeah." Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something. And then maybe it was the series that preceded this, because I've got most of the Jupiter Legacy series, but I know it's incomplete. So I have some spots to fill. And when this is because I'm supporting Mark Miller, and I know it's once I sit down and read them all, it's going to be a pretty good story. Also, I've got a majority of them, so well, they're going. I'll get that. We got Aquaman number 2, The Dark Tide. He wakes up on some other planet through or some other through this Omega thing. And he is the Dark Tide. And it gets a bit, survival meets superpowers. But Arthur is really, really hardcore in this because he goes right for the kill. But I'm like, it's an interesting splash page. And it's like, I compared it to Ethan Van Sciver's Blood Honey in a way. This is pretty deep. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. The Comic Relief Crusader. Is that the same shop that originally released the Tick? That is correct. It is. There's only 3 of them left. They've contracted recently in the past few years. They've lost a few stores, and a couple of the other stores have new names and new ownership. So yeah, NEC, New England Comics, is down to 3 stores. No more, no less. And this is going to, play along with New Gods eventually. It's okay. Green Lantern Corps number 1, co-written by Jeremy Adams and Morgan Hampton, art by Fernando Passarin and Eau Claire Albert. I think he does the inking. And let's see. Pencils by Passarin. Eau Claire Albert does the inks. And it's a beautiful book. It's okay. You can tell where Jeremy Adams is kind of more hands-off here, and where Morgan Hampton takes over probably in the dialogue department. But there are some good story beats in here. We have the return of Sinestro, and the return of Sinestro as a green. We've been seeing him lately as a red. I wonder what's next for him. Blue? Is he going to be the Rainbow Warrior? Can he, And there's a Tamaranian, like Starfire. And that's Starfire's sister, Darkfire. And there's a Tamaranian who's possessed by fear and this fractured spectrum about being like, It's the danger because people can access parts of the spectrum and even newer parts, such as the sorrow. And so Sinestro has her face her fear, and she turns her own ring into a Green Lantern ring. And so we have the first appearance of a new Green Lantern. So it could be a key issue, sure. And then we end it with John Stewart getting a special guest, Hawkwoman, Shira Hall. And if you know your cartoons, the Justice League Unlimited, and Batman Beyond, they're an item. Hawkgirl and John Stewart. Yeah. And I think they're going to import that a bit into this story. I don't mind that. I think that would be cool. And my pick of the week. What a great comic book. This is Transformers number 17. This was a pleasure to read. I got home from work. I was tired. And I cracked open my comic books. And this was the first one I read. Look at this beautiful Daniel Warren Johnson cover. And it's Thundercracker coming to rescue his brother Skywarp. If you'll remember, the Autobots have the remains of Skywarp plugged into Teltran 1 and the Ark to run the computer. And so, it opens up with Thundercracker going to the Ark to save his brother. And he can't, because he would kill him if he removed him from where he is. And up in Cybertron, you got Cliffhanger and Alita 1 and Wheeljack. And they have a spark. And if they can get past the Decepticons, they can go to the spark reclaimer, put the spark into the unit, and have an Autobot be reborn with a new name and a new power, and so we get a new Transformer, Shredhead, a brand new Transformer. That's pretty cool. So this is a key issue, the first appearance of Shredhead. And then we got these beautiful, look at that hand-drawn onomatopoeia. And then that boom, because we have Devastator fighting Bruticus in downtown Seattle. And we have the Autobots going, we have to just save as many people as you can. And it's really good. It was fun. It took my mind off of everything and it improved my mood. And it made me realize the power of what we're doing here about floppies and about enjoying the serialized format of these long form stories and about anticipation and of waiting for the next installment. But I was just really overwhelmed with love of the serialized story just from this one issue. And then and looking forward to the next one. It's just, this is a pleasure to read. It really is. What a good book. What a good book. And that is the Week in Comics. We've been going for 2 hours now. I am completely talked out. I think it's time for supper. I mean, I'm going to make me a steak or something. And actually I have a winner chicken dinner. I got me a bachelor dinner from the supermarket. It's got asparagus and whipped potatoes and 2 chicken breasts. And I'm going to throw it in the oven for 325 for half an hour. And then I'm going to take the chicken breast and mix them up in a Caesar salad and have a huge Caesar salad with some potatoes and some asparagus and then some dessert. Definitely not the rest of these. I'm just at least I'm going to put the other 2 back and maybe finish this. Maybe. They're not my favorite. But at least I tried. I did. Hey, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you could be so kind to smash that like button, you could also hit the notifications and never miss an episode. You could also hit the share button. It really helps the algorithm to suggest this show to geeky people who need to hear these kind of things. It's my goal. I would like to break 2,000 subscribers by the end of this calendar year. We're currently holding at 1,569 subscribers, and we get better and better ratings. I mean, more and more views. We really do. And so we're the little channel that keeps on coming. We got more food videos coming up. So I'm going to be doing a lot more cooking at home. And once I get my living room all settled, I'll be doing some classic gaming as well. We also have the daily Monday through Friday gratitude list first thing in the morning on Live and Learn. And also, everyone, yes, happy birthday, happy heavenly birthday to my mom. I love you, Mom. This is us, 1999 at Fenway Park, watching a baseball game. Isn't that a good moment? Eating a sausage with peppers and onions and drinking beer with my ma. Ain't that cool? Yeah. Well, you have a great week, everyone. And remember, tune in Saturday, 10 a.m. U.S. Eastern, and catch Wes's Thinking Critical, Comic Aficionados. I should be on there. I've been asked to be a permanent member. So for the meantime, you'll be seeing, my positivity, my foolishness. Well, thank you so much for keeping us company. Mark Howard, thank you for keeping me company before my Sunday dinner. Isn't this great? Hanging out, chatting with friends, talking about comic books. Thank you, Dwayne Moof. Thank you very much, Phil the Kill. Thank you very much, Comics. Thank you very much, Crusader. Thank you very much to everyone out there. Alrighty. Well, God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye. Awesome.